Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about the report from John Keim that the Washington football team really wants to try to re-sign JD Mckissic and Bobby McCain this offseason. So I'll talk about that and if I would like them to re-sign both of those players. And then also, Jack Del Rio said today he will be back as defensive coordinator next year for the Washington football team. So we'll also talk about that. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. Hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Also, go ahead and follow my Twitter, trying to get to 1,000 followers on there. So go ahead and follow that. Now, let's get right into the video. And if any of these guys get re-signed later tonight, I'll just change the, title of the video to, whatever, we signed Bobby McCain or JD Mckissic, because yesterday I made a video about us possibly re-signing Charles Leno, and then later that day they re-signed him, so I made another video. But let's talk about this real quick. So John Keim, tweeted out that we signed, extended Charles Leno, 3-year deal worth $37.5 million. I like the deal. Not an amazing player, but he's an above average tackle in this league. And actually this year, if you look at PFF, he's been a top 10 tackle both left and right. Again, you got to take that with a grain of salt, but he's been good this year. He's been consistent, and most importantly, he hasn't missed a game since like 2014. But moving on to, JD Mckissic and Bobby McCain, he quote tweeted his tweet and says, "I don't think this will be the last one either. They want to keep JD Mckissic and Bobby McCain as well. Both make a lot of sense. Stay tuned." So, I really like the idea of them re-signing JD Mckissic. JD Mckissic is one of the top weapons on this offense. I mean, he is our best receiving back by far. He's probably the second or third best receiving back in the NFL. I would put Kamara over him, and then Christian McCaffrey, in a 17-game season, if he's playing all 17 games, I'm taking him over McKissic as a receiving back. But besides those guys, I don't think there's anyone better than JD Mckissic as the receiver, as a receiving running back. He's also a good pass protector, picks up blitzes, which is really important. Gibson's gotten better at that, but still needs to improve, and he can run the ball as well, and we really missed him the last, he's missed 6 games. If he does, he's not going to play obviously this game, so that'll be 6 games on the season. So disappointing that he got hurt, but he made big plays for us this year. You look at his stats this year, he didn't do that much rushing. Again, though, the numbers are a little down because he only played in 11 games, really 10 and a half because he got hurt there. 212 rushing yards, 4.4 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns. So his yards per carry were a little bit up, but yards per carry isn't a great stat. It really depends on the offensive line, but he was solid running the ball, didn't fumble the ball, which is great, had 1 fumble last year, and then receiving had 43 catches for 397 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a 56-yard catch, which, I think that was in the Giants game, week 2, but, had 400 yards, was on pace to, do about what he did last year in that 500 range. Average more yards per catch this year, which is, great, 9.2 yards per catch. He was really good for us, getting those third down conversions, a ton of those. So bringing him back would be really nice in my opinion. Don't want to give him a huge deal because, again, it's the running back position. You can find a lot of guys at the running back position, but not necessarily running backs that can do what JD Mckissic does. But he's, a little old for a running back, so, I wouldn't give him too much money, but I would like to definitely bring him back, keep that, pairing of him and Gibson, but you're still probably going to have to add another running back, because I don't think Gibson can, play 17 games in the National Football League every single season. Because, this year alone, how many injuries has he had? He had the shoulder injury the first couple weeks of the season, then the shin again, and then he has a hip injury now. It's a lot for him, and I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. So you might have to take the load off of him a little bit. And if they do that, maybe they can bring in someone like Ronald Jones that, not going to get 10, 15 carries a game, but, 5, 7, 8 carries. And, that takes away a little bit from Gibson, but it keeps him fresher. So that's something I think they can do this year. I'll talk about that a little bit later in the once we get into the off season. And then Bobby McCain, I would be fine bringing Bobby McCain back. I also would be fine if we let him go earlier in the season. I was very critical of Bobby McCain. I did not think he was playing well at all. I thought he was he was blowing a lot of coverages and just, wasn't great for us, missing some tackles. And, the last, 6, 7, 8 games, he's been playing solid. A lot of the back end, Kendall Fuller, William Jackson, Cameron Curl, pretty much the whole secondary has played really, not really well, but they've played well the second half of the season. Cameron Curl's played well pretty much the whole year, but those other guys that were struggling earlier on have played much better down the stretch, and that includes Bobby McCain. So I would be okay bringing him back, but also it's a position that you can upgrade. You definitely can upgrade at the free safety position. Jesse Bates, Tyrann Mathieu. There's some other guys out there. Maybe you don't want to spend that much money on a free safety. Well, there's some other guys in the draft you can go after. Kyle Hamilton, man, he is an absolute stud. It's not great to get safeties in the first round, but he is an absolute beast. So there's other options. I'm fine bringing Bobby McCain back, but if we do that, I think it would be good to maybe draft a guy in the, early to mid-round pick, third, fourth round, somewhere in that range. Get a guy you can develop, because, if you re-sign Bobby McCain, it probably won't be for a while. Probably won't be like anything more than a 3-year deal. And honestly, I would probably just re-sign him for a 1-year deal, because he's average. He's an average safety, in this league, average free safety. Sometimes he plays at a good level, sometimes he doesn't. It took him a while to get, used to the system, and he was playing, okay to solid football the second half of the year. And, free safety is a position where you can live with that. You can live with okay to solid play there, and it's not really. They have bigger holes, definitely, especially at linebacker on that defense this year. 16 games. Again, you want players that can be healthy. He's been relatively healthy his career. Had 1 year where he kind of missed some time with the Dolphins in 2019, but besides that, it's been relatively healthy. Over 60 tackles this year, and 2 interceptions, but he's dropped some too. He's definitely dropped some as well, although he did get robbed of one. He got one in the Falcons game, but they took it away because of that stupid Chase Young roughing the passer, which was definitely BS. So again, I much rather bring, if I had to choose between J.D. McKissic and Bobby McCain, I'd much rather have J.D. McKissic, but I'm fine bringing back Bobby McCain. I do think, though, that it's not a priority. If you can get, someone else in free agency that's better, I would do it. But Bobby McCain's going to be cheap, and he's an average safety in this league, maybe a little bit better than that. So I would be okay with bringing him back. And the other news, Jack Del Rio, had a press conference today. A lot of people had press conferences. I'm not sure if Rivera had one, but I know Scott Turner had one. I know Jack Del Rio, Jamin Davis, Sammis Reyes, a bunch of players did as well. So Jack Del Rio, when asked if he's hopeful to return in 2022, I'm not hopeful. I will be. John Keim says hasn't been much legit buzz that he wouldn't return, but certainly people always wondering. So, again, this is a move that I'm okay with. I do think some moves need to be made on the coaching staff, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think Sam Mills III needs to go. There's just something wrong with the D-line. They've been okay production-wise. The last few weeks a little bit disappointing, but we understand all the virus issues there, but just something's not totally right there. I don't think the players are bought into Sam Mills, so I think bringing someone else in there would be a good idea. You start there, maybe Steve Russ as well, a linebackers coach. Really haven't seen much improvement from the linebackers. Wasn't really able to develop Jamin Davis. Cole Holcomb, he's developed, but he was good in his rookie year. And then, Khaleke Hudson really hasn't developed much. So those two, I think, definitely could go. We can talk about the offensive guys later. The thing with Del Rio is I think the defense, when they were healthy in the middle of the season on that 4-game winning streak, and even before then, even like the 2 games before that, the defense was playing better. The only thing is, Jack Del Rio took so long to make some adjustments. He started off the season playing Cameron Curl like 35-40% of the snaps, and he's like our second, third best player on our defense behind Jonathan Allen. You could argue he's our second best defensive player this year, and he was barely playing. And Landon Collins was playing, he was playing outside the box, blowing so many different coverages. William Jackson really wasn't meshing in. Jamin Davis, and I know it's not all on him, but Jamin Davis hasn't developed. And a lot of the things, it took him a while to figure out some of the things that we were, hammering for. We were like, come on, Cameron Curl should be playing more. Landon Collins should not be playing as a safety in coverage as much as he is. He should be playing more in the box as a linebacker. And it took a long time for them to realize that. It really, really did. And that's on Jack Del Rio, because he's really the head of this defense. Rivera isn't. Obviously, he has some input, but it's mostly Del Rio. So I'm fine with bringing back Del Rio. The defense was playing pretty well when they were healthy. Once everything, happened with, the virus and everything there, it started to unravel. But even in that Cowboys game, the first Cowboys game, they played pretty well. Only, 27 points on the scoreboard, but 7 of those were a fumble from Heineke that the defense took back. So the defense, I'm, actually somewhat optimistic about it. They do have holes. Linebacker, the biggest one. Could argue still free safety, some depth on that defensive line, on the edge there. But I'm fine bringing back Del Rio. But, if we struggle next year, I definitely think you got to move on from him. And it could even be mid-season if it's, the same thing that happened last year, or, this year. And even last year, the whole coaching staff has been, the first 2 years they've been here, getting off to, slow starts. So that's something we got to get better at. So that's going to do it for the video. Let me know what you guys think about everything here. Del Rio coming back, possibly re-signing Bobby McCain and J.D. Mckissic. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.